it depends on what substance it is too. Like methamphetamine is very addicting. Cocaine is very addicting. Heroin is very addicting. This fentanyl, which is just a synthetic opiate, which is like 1,000 times stronger than heroin, is very addictive. You know what I mean? It has addictive properties in it to where it makes you physically addicted. They say that methamphetamine is more psychologically addictive, so it's not so much that your body craves it, but that your mind, you get psychologically addicted to methamphetamine and cocaine.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of podcast with me. I'm your host Moon and you are watching Moonlight Guidance. Namaste. This part is in continuation with my earlier video of interviewing Mikel Vaughn on the glaring issue of drug addiction. He is a group counselor and a registered drug and alcohol technician based in California, USA. Part 1 covers Mikel's experience when he went through similar issues early in his life and how he got into the field of working towards this cause. It's an interesting episode and informative episode. I will give the link of part 1 episode in the description box, and you will also find the link at the end of this video. Viewers, you may like and share this video so that it reaches to the maximum people who are seeking this information. And if you are new viewer, please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon for notifications. Friends, before we go deep into the interview, let's have a look at the latest drug report published by United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime report. It's a global body to control drugs abuse. Its annual report was published on 11 September 21. This body always gives reports for the second last year. So in 2021, they published the annual report for 2019. So, from this graph, we see that a huge quantity of cannabis, cocaine, opiates, synthetic drugs like amphetamine type stimulants, plant-based new psychoactive substances, and synthetic new psychoactive substances were seized in 2019. And from this chart, we can see that no continent is left safe. Projected drugs abuse is highest for Asia, then Africa, and then North America. After this, let's have a look at the latest drug report published by the news channel India Today as on 2nd September 2020. From this chart, we can see that opiate use in India is much higher than the global or Asian average. The maximum growth was reported in consumption of heroin. From this chart, we can see that nearly 44% of the reported drug addicts are trying to be de-addicted, but only 25% of the addicts have received treatment. The use of illegal cannabis in India is much lower than the global average, less than 1/3. However, opiate use is 3 times higher than the worldwide average. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences survey shows that in 2018, nearly 2.1% of the population, that means around 2.3 crore people, had used opiates. Opiates are the drugs that present the largest cause of concern due to the severe impact on the health of users. Also of concern is the non-medical use of painkiller tramadol, produced in South Asia and trafficked primarily to Africa and Middle East. Amongst the negative consequences of drug use, mental health disorders, HIV infection, hepatitis C, and overdose are the main concerns, many of which can lead to premature death. With this, I just remembered I am witness to the death of one of my overseas friend due to overdose. He was a young guy of around 26 or 27 years old. He was a seasoned drug addict though. I guess he has taken a few recovery programs too, but couldn't come out of it. If he would not take drugs, he used to fall sick. Recently, I came to know of his death. It happened that it was a normal day for him. He was at home with his cousins and suddenly he started feeling unwell and laid down on bed, and everyone thought that he wants to rest, sleep. But he was gone. he was under drugs that time. So usually sometime they mix different kind of drugs which causes sudden heart failure. So it was an ideal condition of premature death. Injecting drugs, mainly opiates, is deemed to be the most dangerous way of consuming narcotics due to the spread of diseases through the sharing of needles. Also, as per the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime Report 2021, we see that drugs use risk is projected to be higher in largely populated countries with low or medium income by 2030. India is a developing country. Now you all can gauge where we stand on this risk scale. After analyzing all these data, I get disturbed and a lot of questions arise in my mind. It's for sure that it's a global issue to which youngsters, teenagers, students are most vulnerable to. Let's ask our expert Mikel on how one gets into addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or any other substance.
It's funny that you asked that because I was just having group with my clients at work the other day, and I asked a similar question, and most of them said it's because they wanted to fit in and that it just looked like the cool thing to do, and the people who were doing it around them seemed to be having fun. So yeah, I think that initially it's that people around them are doing it, and they either tell them how it makes them feel and how much they like it, and they just end up wanting to have that experience, or they see people having fun or feeling good or whatever, and they just want to have that experience, and they end up trying it. Like I said, some people get addicted right away, some people never get addicted, other people they do it here and there for years, and then when something really goes bad in their life, then they get addicted. So behavior patterns vary. Some people start doing it when they go through some depression, or have really bad anxiety or something, and you can have that one friend who's just like, hey, look, man, this will help, and they try it, and then they just get addicted.
Yes, Mikel, I agree to you. The truth is, anyone at any age can become addicted to drugs. I agree with you. However, I also feel that as a teen, you are especially prone to addiction. Drugs and alcohol disrupt the way we think, how we act, and how our brain works. It only takes a few hits or a few pills to start the cycle. Now, a lot of times it comes to my mind from my teenage years that, can I get addicted if I do it just once in a while?
Yeah, absolutely. People think that they are going to be able to control it or only do it once in a while. And it depends on what substance it is too. Like methamphetamine is very addicting. Cocaine is very addicting. Heroin is very addicting. This fentanyl, which is just a synthetic opiate, which is like 1,000 times stronger than heroin, is very addictive. You know what I mean? It has addictive properties in it to where it makes you physically addicted. They say that methamphetamine is more psychologically addictive, so it's not so much that your body craves it, but that your mind, you get psychologically addicted to methamphetamine and cocaine. But opiates are physically addicted to where your body is demanding more of the drug, pretty quickly. You can get addicted quickly. But also the answer to this question is it's complex. Because like I was saying before, behavior patterns just vary, Like for me, I told myself I was never going to do meth, that I was never going to do it. But sure enough, I ended up doing it, and I ended up getting addicted to it like that, quick. But some people do have the ability to do it just once in a while. Some people do. Maybe not very many, but some people do, you know. Like alcohol, for instance. Some people never turn into alcoholics. Some people can just drink, you know, once a month, you know, or just on the weekend or whatever, you know. I've heard stories of people who drank normally, you know, once a month or once a week, until they were 30, in their late 30s or 40s or whatever, and then all of a sudden they turn into an alcoholic and they drink every day, all day, you know. It's a progression, you know. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to these hard drugs, you know what I mean, like heroin and fentanyl and meth and cocaine and stuff, I mean, it's just, you know, don't even risk it, you know, don't even risk it, because they're just addictive.
Yes, I agree that a few drugs are more addictive. All drugs share something in common, a chemical called dopamine. When a person uses a drug, their brain releases dopamine to produce the feeling of being high. But when a person uses drugs repeatedly, their brain adjusts to the flow of dopamine that occur. In time, their bodies get used to this chemical and demand more of it, you know. This is where an addiction cycle starts. Progressively, the occasional use turns into frequent use, which may turn into regular use over the time. It's a vicious circle. So now I have a question, like what you have to say about marijuana. Many people consider that it's plant, it's natural.
What would I say about marijuana? It's a tough one. I mean, I have an opinion on it, but it's just an opinion, and I don't value my opinion that much, you know, or at least I try not to. When it comes to physical pain, I might be able to justify for some people, not for me, but it would have to be serious physical pain, like real serious physical pain. The way I see it is, it's an altered state of consciousness that you can get addicted to, and relying on a substance to provide you stress relief is not good, you know. And like I said, the only thing that I hold on to is the physical pain issue, because I have, you know, just empathy for people who suffer from bad physical pain, you know. And I guess actually there's some other stuff too, like I just watched a video recently to where I forget what kind of disease is it, but like some kind of mental illness where I don't think it's autism. It's not autism. It might be, but where people just flip out, especially, and it was a kid. He was probably like 14, 15, 16, but you know, he would start like clenching his fist and just like punching stuff and just losing his cool. And his parents, his dad would put like an oxygen mask over his face with marijuana, just a little bit of smoke for a few seconds, and the kid would calm down. And if it relieves that kid's suffering, then it might be justified, you know, for instances like that. For me, it's an altered state of consciousness that I can get addicted to. It's a worldly thing, and I don't want it separates me. It separates me from the source, is how I feel. It, you know, and it lies, you know, it lies to me, and you know, it can even lie to you and tell you that it connects you more to the source, you know, like the source of all things, you know, God, you know, whatever you want to call it. But it's a lie, because the second you don't have any more, you're no longer connected, you know. And the way that my sponsor says is like, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard, but they used to call beer spirits, with a lowercase s, you know, different alcohols they would call spirits with a lowercase s, and that's what my sponsor says that that drugs and alcohol are, is they're these spirits with a lowercase s, you know. And what we really need is to be connected to. So we're searching for the real, you know, spirit, you know, with a capital S, you know. We're searching for the source, you know, but we're searching for it in these little spirits, you know, like alcohol and drugs, and we never get it, you know. We never get connected, truly connected to the source. It's a lie, you know, that the drugs and the alcohol give us a sense of being connected to something greater than ourselves. But yeah, so marijuana, it disconnects me from the true source, in my experience, you know. So I can't have it, you know. Do I think recreational marijuana use is okay? Not to just have fun, you know. I don't think it's necessary, you know.
Thanks, Michael. So today I came to know the importance of lowercase and uppercase letters, beer spirits and spirits. I will use them wisely, not joking, true. Just to add, the marijuana plant has not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration for the treatment of any medical condition. Smoked marijuana is not an ideal treatment because of its addictiveness and propensity to harm the lungs. However, a pill form of the chemical called THC found in marijuana is used in cancer chemotherapy. Now, Michael, another data shows that a lot of people believe that misuse of prescription drugs are normal. They are safe. What's the truth behind this?
So I feel like the truth about prescription drugs are, well, like benzodiazepines, like which are for serious anxiety, like panic attack relief or anxiety relief. Also, they can take you out of a seizure. They're just very addictive, very, very addictive. People, if you are honest with your doctor, completely honest with your doctor and with yourself, I think that you might, you know, you could be okay with using these drugs that are addictive if you don't take more than what is prescribed. But you got to be honest with your doctor and honest with yourself, about like the severity of your symptoms. So like opiates, for example, also very addicting, very addictive. You know, a lot of people start off with prescription opiates and then they end up getting hooked on heroin and fentanyl now. It's tough because those things are very addicting. They can be very addicting. So really it's just about being honest and not taking more than what is prescribed, and talking to your doctor about what is going on, or if you are starting to get physically dependent, or psychologically dependent on these pills. You know, I have a lot of compassion and empathy for people who are in serious physical pain, and it's crazy because when it comes to serious physical pain, I mean, I don't know what solution there is other than drugs. You know, because I've had physical pain, and I know physical pain sucks. I've also had real bad anxiety, you know, but my experience with anxiety is that it went away, you know. So it went away through spiritual work, through the inner work. It's gone away, right? Most of my anxiety was like psychological, and it needed to be dealt with on a spiritual basis. But when it comes to physical pain, I'm sure that's possible too. But I just haven't witnessed or experienced it, you know? So, yeah, we're getting a little deep now.
Yes, it is important to remember that prescription drugs are still drugs. They are addictive, and they are both dangerous and illegal if used non-medically. Now, Michael, how can we know that someone is addicted in our family or friend circle, and how parents can know before it's too late?
I mean, I would just, you know, look for behavior that is unusual, you know. If they're really, you know, hyper and spazzed out, and they usually aren't, you know, or if they're really down and they're usually more up and happy and whatever, to just try to talk to them. But in all honesty, in my experience and from what I've seen from hundreds and hundreds of other people is, I mean, you might be able to find out before it's too late, but putting an end to it before it's too late, I don't know. I mean, you know, I've heard of people, you know, I guess there's rehabs and stuff in Mexico where, you know, parents will take their kids to these rehabs in Mexico and actually lock them up, you know, like lock them in a room and just physically separate them from the drugs and the alcohol. And they can do that for 6 months, you know. But when they get out, they just do more drugs and drink again. There's really not much you can do. I think it has to come from inside, from, you know, deep within, yet it has to come from a power greater than ourselves at the same time to intervene, you know. I don't think there's anything we can really do other than have compassion, understanding and empathy, and ask them, you know, what they really want and what they're really looking for, you know, and try to get them connected to a deeper purpose, like a deeper meaning. But the thing is they won't know that it's not okay until it's not okay, you know. They won't see the destruction until the destruction you know what I mean? They won't see the destruction coming until they look in the rear view mirror and they're like, damn, you know. And even then they might not want to stop. It's a lot more serious than we could, you know, we can't really wrap our heads around it. We can just be on the front lines, willing to help whenever they're somewhat, you know, ready to be helped. Sometimes we get people who really want to change and really want help, you know, really want to be a whole new person, you know. And I've even seen people who really seem to be sincere about wanting to be a new person, and then they just can't do it. We can't remove the desire to do drugs and alcohol from them. We just can't. You know, it has to come from in them or from somewhere greater than any of us. You know, and that's just how serious it is.
Yes, I understood. So we can be of positive influence in their life and encourage them to seek help from a trusted source like a counselor, doctor, or a therapist, or an addiction professional. Got a lot of information today. With this, my next question comes: what kind of establishments or bodies are there in California, government or private, to help the addicts with their recovery process? With your answer, I'm sure both countries' substance recovery system can learn something new and apply them to make the recovery process more efficient. Over to you, Michael.
So we have, detoxes, which can be anywhere from 3 days to a couple of weeks, where people go in and they're just physically detoxed from the drug or the alcohol, and they're monitored. It's called a medical detox, and they're monitored by nurses and doctors to make sure that they don't die while they're withdrawing, the drug from their system. And then usually from there they go to what's called residential or inpatient treatment, to where they go to a program and they learn some tools, coping mechanisms and stuff like that. And then that's anywhere. So they detox first, and then they can go to an inpatient residential program where they're with other people, and they can get a therapist, right? They get a therapist, a counselor, a drug counselor, and they have groups where we work through stuff in a group setting, and they do that anywhere from 30 days to 3 months. They have other ones that are longer too. And those are usually actually religious programs. So there's religious programs too, right? There's a lot of Christian religious programs that are based off Christianity, and one of them's called the Salvation Army. They do 6 months. They have one called the Mission that's 18 months. And they have another one called Teen Challenge, which I believe is either a year or 18 months as well. I think it's 18 months. Yeah. And, at those kind of places, you can't have any kind of, narcotic medication, and stuff like that. It's just all about, the Christian higher power, the God of, who they understand God to be, and pretty much relying on that. But anyways, so those are all inpatient treatment. They're in there with other guys, and they're learning tools, basically tools to take with them when they get out, And then another, after residential and inpatient, so it goes detox, residential and inpatient from 3 months or a month to a year and 18 months, depending on what program. And then there's sober living. Sober living is basically just a place where they're held accountable. Like, they get drug tested, and they have a curfew. They have to be home at a certain time. They have a house manager that they have to check in with, and stuff like that. And it's basically just like a smooth transition back into normal. So, the 12-step program. So, the 12 steps, they have Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. They even have Cocaine Anonymous, Crystal Meth Anonymous. But the original 12-step program is Alcoholics Anonymous. So there's just meetings that are held there. There's meetings that are held at various locations, at different churches and place where the people, they let us rent the room for like an hour a week or whatever. We meet there and we have meetings, And I've heard of a lot of people who got sober just by they started going to those meetings. I went to rehab first, and then I started going to those meetings. I don't think I could have just started going to those meetings and then got sober. I think I needed to, physically be removed from my environment, be put in a new one, to where I had a support system in rehab, and then I started building my support system outside of rehab while I was still in rehab. That's the thing, is a lot of people, they go to treatment, they go detox, and then they go into residential inpatient treatment, and they have a support system while they're in treatment, but when they get out, they don't have a support system, and they fall back off. So I got a sponsor when I was still in rehab, and I started building a support system in the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous outside of the rehab, so that when I left, I had a huge support system. To when I came back home, I was still going to a meeting every day. I had a bunch of new sober friends. I had a whole new family, and that's why I've been successful, is the support of these other people. So yeah, AA meetings, NA meetings, any 12-step program can be helpful. Like I said, I know people who never went to rehab, who detoxed just at home, which I don't recommend. If you're a real serious drug addict, you're going to need medical detox. But also, I don't think that rehab is always necessary. Detox is necessary. I mean, that's just a normal process that you have to go through if you're going to get off drugs and alcohol. The severity of the detox depends on how much you've been drinking or using. But rehab is not always necessary. What's necessary is support, right? So people can detox and then just start going to meetings, like AA meetings, NA meetings, any kind of 12-step program, and get connected to people who are like-minded, have the same struggles, have found solutions to the struggles, and get connected with them, get a sponsor, and work those 12 steps as honestly and thoroughly as you possibly can. And if you have the self-honesty to do that, you will recover. You will. It takes a lot of desperation and integrity, I guess, to do it. But if you have the capacity to be honest with yourself, with a higher power and with another person, and you work those 12 steps thoroughly and honestly, you'll have a spiritual experience which will solve all of your problems. And yeah, that's what I try to help people to get.
Thanks, Michael. So self-honesty plays a vital role here. This information is of great help. In India, I have not heard of sober living, at least not in the rehabilitation centers I go to visit patients in my city. There are differences I see, but I'm sure we can learn and adopt each other's processes to fill the gaps. Friends, we would like to keep this episode till here. We will continue the podcast with Michael in our next upcoming episodes. For that, please keep the notification bell on to get future alerts from our channel. You can check out the first part of this podcast that will get displayed now on your screen. Michael's social media handles are mentioned in the description box below. You can comment down with any of your query or reach out to any of us in relation to this topic. Please encourage us by subscribing, liking and sharing this video. And thank you very much for all your lovely donations. Thank you. Namaste.